What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I really wanted to talk about hormones. Many of you have been writing into me and sending me messages regarding hormones, whether you should be taking the birth control or not, whether or not you should be taking your HR treatment for your menopause. So I really wanted to address this issue alongside our skin condition. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Layla, and on this channel I discuss everything in terms of healing completely naturally your eczema, your atopic dermatitis, your psoriasis, any other skin inflammatory condition, as well as topical steroid withdrawal, TSW, as I also too went through TSW 2 years ago and I am successfully fully healed, and I managed to heal my skin in under 3 months. And on my channel I share with you all the tips and tricks that I did in order to overcome that hot burning redness, to be able to sleep through the night and overcome the steroid addiction that my skin was going through. So how and why does our hormones affect our skin conditions so much? On the one scale, some people can break out in acne, and on the absolute opposite end of the scale, there are those of us with extremely dry skin, atopic dermatitis, eczema, and we need to really understand our hormones and how we can work in unison with them so that we can have the best skin possible. So the three main basic hormones, and this will relate back to your high school days in your biology class, are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. The estrogen being, for me personally, one of the most important hormones, because this is what gives us that elasticity in our skin. It's what produces all that beautiful collagen, which is what we really want when we're trying to overcome our elephant skin when it comes to our TSW. And for many of us with eczema as well, we tend to lose a lot of elasticity in our skin when we have the steroid addiction and going through our steroid withdrawal. And all that steroid can really play havoc with our hormones, our adrenal glands, and then therefore our collagen structure. If you guys want me to make you a video about elephant skin, please comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback and let me know if you feel that you want to really address your elephant skin and what are the best tips and tricks possible to do that. Next up we have progesterone, and progesterone is part and parcel of our oil production sebum glands. It helps release that oil production. And then lastly we have our testosterone, and this becomes present during our menstrual cycle, and again it works fairly similarly to our progesterone, produces that sebum production so that we have a lot more hydration in our skin. So during our menstrual cycle, we do have quite a lot of changes going on in our body, and I'm going to go through sort of the 4 phases that we have whereby our body is changing, our hormones are engaging at certain times of the month, so that you can really understand your skin and your skin cycle. So if you remember in biology, we would have day 1 to day 28 as our chart or our day chart for our menstrual cycle. So starting from day 1 to day 6, that is when you're having your period. So day 1 would be the first day of your period. So the first few days of your cycle, your estrogen level is really low, your progesterone level is also really low, and so is your testosterone. So all your hormone levels are super low when you're having your period, and your skin might look drier, duller, there might be more pigmentation, there could be a lot more sensitivity. And I noticed this in my own face, particularly where I have my pigmentation issues in dull dryness area here, which is also a lot of scar tissue left over from my steroid use, because I did find it thinned the skin enormously, leaving me with quite damaged tissue around my chin mouth area here underneath, and a little bit also on the top of my lip. But during the course of my period, I do tend to feel very sensitive and also quite emotional at the same time. So from day 7 to day 11, after our period, our estrogen production begins to increase, and this is a good opportunity to actually see quite a lot of skin cell renewal and turnover happening, and it's a brilliant opportunity in general to do some exfoliation. Now for those of us with extremely sensitive skin and with skin conditions such as our eczema and dermatitis, really use a very gentle form of exfoliating. You want to try and get a lot of those dead skin cells off, so that you can have healthier skin cell production. You can use something like a konjac sponge, which I find is just fantastic for just sloughing off some of those dead skin cells in a very gentle way without impairing the skin barrier, or getting too deep that you're starting to disrupt that skin barrier. Also, you might find at the same time, for those of you in the cruxes of your TSW, that you're flaking a lot more at this time. So say the 7 to 11 day, it might be a period of whereby you're almost flaking for 3 days straight. So just bear in mind your menstrual cycle and what's happening, so that you've got a good understanding of why your skin's behaving such as it is at certain times of the month. Then from day 12 to 16, your estrogen really peaks. It hits its highest point and it's right before ovulation. And at this point, and I love this phase because your skin is glowing, it is juicy, it is plump. You don't need to put that much product on your face. You'll find that the flaking situation has subsided quite a lot, and you might actually get a few days relief. You might find that you don't need to put on half as much makeup or moisturize half as much. So this is kind of like my most loved phase, and I wish it was like this all the time. Then from day 17 to 24, your estrogen levels begin to drop and your testosterone levels begin to mount, and this is when you can start to have a few pimples, a few spots, a little breakout, which is exactly where I am at the moment. You can see this little friend here that I've got, and I've got a few little baby friends just around my hairline. And I have to say, the better I diet with my low histamine eczema diet, less amount of pimples that I'm going to get. So I really do believe in eating right for your skin, because it even works for those of us with acne to have the right diet. You can really reduce acne at the same time. But yeah, this is all due to basically being premenstrual, literally, and having those little spots. And alongside, we also can get a little bit grumpy, a little bit frustrated, and that is our typical PMS. So how does this affect us if we're going through some hormonal changes, pregnancy, menopause, birth control? What do we need to know about this? First off, if you're pregnant, go ahead and watch this video, because I did a video in the past, a few months back, about pregnancy and eczema and which way your eczema could go, because you might not have even ever experienced eczema, and yet all of a sudden you've got eczema during your pregnancy, or you've got underlying eczema and it's not very chronic at all, or you had it as a child and it's reappeared during your eczema days, or you've had eczema your entire life and then all of a sudden you're pregnant and you've got no eczema whatsoever. That is what happened to me, and it's really all about which hormone is higher, because obviously when you're pregnant you've got lots of estrogen and you've got lots of testosterone, and it's kind of a battle of the wills, which is slightly more higher than the other. And for me, I found I just had very heightened estrogen, more so, which was allowed my skin just to be able to get through that pregnancy without having any eczema whatsoever. I was super lucky. Some have a bit more testosterone and that can lead to a little bit more dryness sometimes. So it just really depends on your skin type and on your hormone levels overall. The one thing that pregnancy does produce with the heightened estrogen and testosterone is hyperpigmentation. Now, you've all heard me talk in the past about how I do struggle with hyperpigmentation around my chin. I've just had it pretty much forever. I feel like I just can't really remember a time when I didn't have it. I think I've had this since sort of puberty, and it comes and goes. And during my pregnancy, I had it a little bit more on this side than this side, but it didn't really bother me that much. And it certainly didn't bother me back then as much as it does now. And I think it was just because of my TSW days and my steroid addiction, that this has become an area that sort of never healed and it's scarred. And so I've sort of got scar tissue with hyperpigmentation. Lucky me. Hyperpigmentation during pregnancy usually disappears within 3 months post-birth. Another hormonal change that we as women all need to sort of do as much research as we can about is the menopause. I'm in my 40s and I know that my menopause will be coming about in the next 5 to 7 years, and I want to be as prepared as best as possible. And during the menopause, our estrogen levels take quite a big dive. We see a lot of collagen production beginning to really slow down. We see a lot of volume loss in our face. We also just tend to see a lot more wrinkles come about. We just don't have that plump skin that we used to have. And alongside those of us who have gone through our TSW, being in our 40s, 50s and going through TSW is really quite difficult, because we do have to deal with this collagen loss. We do have to deal with this drop in estrogen, because many of us might also have the sagging skin as well. And I certainly had a very big part of TSW on my neck that didn't shift. It was the most stubbornest area that I have. So therefore I have a darker skin tone, and for that reason, you know, I tend to scar a lot more. So it tends to be a lot more obvious on my olive skin tone than say a fairer skin tone. And I also have had quite a lot of, so you can see I have quite a bit of wrinkling, sort of lines really. I like to call them sort of just my withdrawal lines. But it is a hell of a lot better, and I've really tackled my collagen levels through my diet and through supplementation. And if you guys are interested in learning more about supplementation, then go ahead and watch this video at the end of this one, because it's all about the supplements that I took for my TSW. So without killing too many spirits out there, the best way to really keep that collagen production at its maximal point is through diet. You really want to hone in on lots of good, healthy proteins. You've got your egg whites, if you're allowed eggs. You've got your chicken, you've got your fish. You know, you've got leafy greens, you've got your flax seeds, your chia seeds. Go to town on your seeds. Sunflower seeds, they're really high in omegas, really good for that cell renewal and really good to plump up that collagen, so that we're healing and repairing ourselves from the inside out. At the same time, I do take a collagen powder. I'm going to put it just here, a picture of it, because I've run out and it's coming through the post in Amazon, and I'll put it also down in the link below so that you guys can get it too from Amazon as well. But yeah, I like to take a collagen powder in the evening. For some reason, I sort of feel that taking collagen powder in the evening is more effective because it's working on my skin as I'm sleeping. Just my mindset. Sugar, I'm afraid you guys, you've got to cut that sugar, because sugar is such a killer to collagen. So always repeat that to yourself whenever, like, I'm in the naughty cupboard, and we've all got one, and you look at those cookies in the afternoon, and then I got to say to myself, Layla, have an apple. You know, that sugar is going to kill collagen. Fruit in sugar is totally fine, you guys. The amount of messages that I get about people asking if they can have fruit, even though it's got sugar in it. Yes, you can. You can have as much fruit as you want. It has got fiber. It has got all the goodness in it. And yes, it's got natural sugars in it. But when I'm talking about sugar, I'm talking about refined sugar. I'm talking about your cookies. I'm talking about your naughties, your chocolate, that sort of thing. You know, those puddings, that sort of thing. You know, you've got to monitor that sugar. Sugar in fruit, no problem. In terms of hygiene products and skincare for your skin during the menopause, your skin will dry out. That's just a given. You know, that estrogen is taking a dive, and you've really got to try and plump it up as much as possible with ceramides. I've done a video about my skincare in the past where I use really good quality ceramides, and I get them from Andy Millward, and I put his details down below for you guys as well. And I use a products that come from him as a professional facialist, and you can find the directory of the facialists in your area that sell Dermavisual. Dermavisual is a brilliant skincare range, really high in quality ceramides, and I have to say it has done so much good for my skin. I've seen such a difference. Whatever you do, for those of you who have got that dry skin alongside your menopause with your eczema, TSW and dermatitis, to really avoid things like retinol, you're really kind of tempted to use retinols. I know that I went through a phase of being tempted to use retinols, you know, about 3-4 months ago, because I wasn't seeing enough of the wrinkling and sagging really kind of taking shape, especially on my neck area. So I thought if I used retinols, it might be the way forward, but I consulted with Andy and I consulted with Julia, and they both agreed that retinols was just a complete no-no for me, and that ceramides was going to do just as good a job, if not better, because it's actually got the essential omegas in the products that you need in order to apply to your skin. Retinols are really good for wrinkles, but if you have dry skin, it will dry your skin out even further. So when we look at the makeup of our skin versus the hormones and the hormone changes that we're going through, we need to really examine the androgen hormone, because the androgen hormone is what actually creates that oil production and that sebum, which keeps our skin really nice and hydrated. Things like taking oral contraception can actually inhibit that androgen gland, that androgen production, which is why so often doctors tell patients and women to take the pill in order to try and get their acne under control, because it really helps reduce the androgen release of hormones, so that you're not producing as much sebum as you maybe would without the pill. So the oral contraception contains both the estrogen and the progesterone hormone, and it prevents fertilization. That's its role. And lowering the amount of the androgens in the body, the pill blocks excess androgens, so not too much sebum production. So therefore you haven't got the clogged pores, you haven't got the bacterial growth, and basically no more acne breakouts. The pill can be just like other medications for those of us who have got eczema. We've reacted to steroids, we've reacted to antibiotics, you know, taking something like the birth control, and this is purely my personal opinion, and you guys know I'm not a doctor, okay? But it can create more inflammation in the gut. So I was actually told not to take the birth control pill by my holistic practitioner, and I did see a significant difference within the first sort of 2 to 3 weeks of my skin feeling just a little bit more hydrated, and I wasn't battling so much with so much moisturizer all the time. Guys, please let me know in the comments below whether or not you do take the pill and whether you see any significant difference with your eczema or your TSW, or if you've stopped it recently and you've seen a bit of a change with your hormones and the structure with your skin, and any sort of signs of early healing and improvements. That is it for me, you guys. I really hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join my community so you don't miss out on any of my next up and coming videos, and I'll see you guys all next week in another one. Bye for now.